Hey data fans, Reed here. Today, I want to walk you through 5 really good examples of how to leverage the new TMDL view that's built into Power BI Desktop. Now, this did come out a few months ago, and it's essentially a view that lets you do a lot of model development at a much faster rate by doing bulk applications, replacements, and a few other things. So, in this one, I don't have anything to show initially, so I just want to go ahead and actually have us hop right into Power BI and get started. So to start with, if you haven't turned it on already, or if it's still in preview as of the time of watching this video, you will come up to Options, you'll go to Preview Features, and then scroll down and just ensure that you have TMDL View turned on. Now, with that being said, let's go through a couple of scenarios. So scenario number 1 is basically doing a quick find and replace. Now, the way that I get all of this code that you see in front of us here, it's quite literally a drag and drop. So either at the table level, the measure level, or the column level, if I just drag it into here or right click with the script 2, it will add all of the code into here for that. And now what I'm going to do is I want to replace every measure that has sales with sales adjusted. So I'm going to do a find and I'm going to look for sales here. And it looks like I found 16 locations. Now let's add a replace below it and put in brackets sales adjusted, which is the name of the one that I have over here. And then let's click apply or replace all. All right, and now that I've done the find and replace, I'm going to select apply. That applied it to my model. And if we just would to come to the table view or anything else and take a look as an example at prior sales, we can see that calculates sales adjusted. Everything's put into here. So it did a full swap for us. Now, continuing along the journey, another great thing we can do is we can update Power Query code without needing to refresh. So the M code for a table, this right here is the fact sales. All I did again was a drag and drop. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and any of this that I want to edit at all can be saved without needing to trigger a refresh. So as an example, if I wanted to update that there, select apply, that will save the code, and then next time I refresh, this will be the new column name as an example. So any of this M code can be edited without needing to refresh. This could be useful if you're editing a file and you don't have a VPN connected, or at the moment there's just something you needed to do, but without the ability to necessarily connect to the data source for a refresh for it. So you have those edit options here. Now, third thing that's really useful is the renaming columns without an applied step. Now, previously, to do something like this, what you would need to do here is you would go over, double-click this, but if you did that, that would add a rename step in Power Query. But now, if you were, again, to come to something like this, do a full drop-in of the table itself, and you do need to do it at the table level. If you try to do the column by itself, let's use brand name as an example. If I try to edit this here, I would get an error. It wouldn't let me do it at this, but if I do it at the table level, let's go to brand name. There we are, brand name 1, select apply. So it will keep the lineage from the base query, rename it here. So this can be really useful when you don't want to have to arbitrarily add extra Power Query steps and have a name in the model that is unique from whatever the upstream name is. Just be careful on naming the two of them, because if you open the Power Query preview, unless you were looking in the TMDL view, you wouldn't necessarily know if you change this to company name instead of brand name, you might lose a bit of the lineage. Another recommendation is sometimes you can take the source data like this and make sure you put it in the description to indicate the original source column name. Now, another useful feature here, in this case, is the dim calendar. So if I wanted to take this calendar table that I have that is fully edited, foldered, and everything else, I want to move it to a different workbook. Now, the problem that we have with this a little bit is the lineage tags. So these are unique to a model, and there might be overlap with another model if they share the same one. So if you don't have a lineage tag, it creates new ones from scratch that do not interfere with any existing ones. So what we can do, so we can select that, Control-Shift-L, and then if I move this over like this, delete it, and now copy that, and I'm going to go to a different workbook here. I'm going to paste that in without one with the calendar table. I'm going to paste this into here after I got rid of the lineage tags. Select apply, and refresh the calculation group. And now we have all of my folders, all of my items, and it brought over that full code with a really quick way to get rid of all of those lineage tags for that. So it's super easy to use TMDL view to transfer tables between workbooks, especially the DAX generated tables. And now the last trick that I'll mention here is the model backup that we have here. So this is a great trick that the program manager for TMDL view recommended to me, Rui Romano. But if you come over to the model view, you take the entire semantic model and drop it into here. That is every piece of code to make the entire model, including everything from the queries to the measures and anything in between. So this whole thing is technically a backup at the date you created it at. So if you're working on this and developing this and you want to kind of create a version history throughout this, you can save tabs of the TMDL code in here like this and have built-in versioning. So one really useful potential feature for that. But between all of these, you have the find and replace, updating a Power Query without refreshing, renaming columns without an applied step, copy and lineage tag removal, and then that model back up there that you have at the bottom. But overall, as always, any comment suggestions or suggestions for a future video down in the comment section below, my related content here in the upper left. And as always, liking, commenting, and subscribing will help my channel grow. And with that being said, as you all know, that means I will see you in my next video.